用事实说话，焦点访谈。
Jimin viewers weigh in on recent topics in K-pop. Thank you very much, by the way, for submitting something if you did. Yeah, I think we should just get started. I'm gonna try and look through as many of these as possible, so I guess we should just begin. Why am I so nervous about this? Hopefully nobody said anything weird. Okay. This first one says, I love your videos, bestie. You're keeping the K-pop commentary community alive. Wow, thank you. And my opinion is that, in my opinion, there have been way too many, especially girl groups, coming out of survival shows recently that I can't tell them apart anymore as a casual fan. Like, these companies need to slow down. We don't need a new group every other day, especially because they don't really commit to most of them and just throw these people at us to see what sticks. Feels unfair to the fans and artists alike. Yeah, I think I agree with this. Yeah, I'm never sad or frustrated to see another K-pop group debut necessarily, but I agree that it seems like K-pop companies and labels struggle a lot when trying to maintain more than 3 to 4 groups. I think it's more of a management issue, actually. There's always one or more groups that get severely disadvantaged in the process of the company debuting, quote, too many groups, right? And I think it's very unfair to the artists in that way to be kind of neglected by your own company. But I think really, if they solved the poor management side of the problem, if enough effort went into making sure the company's artists were managed and promoted equally, every group was equal, I don't think that this would be a problem anymore. I don't think having too many groups would be a problem if they were managed correctly. Does that make sense? That's obviously easier said than done, but also, if a company is going to have 8 active groups at a time, I don't think it's unreasonable for fans to expect that they can provide resources to support all 8 of those active groups equally, right? Yeah, I think that's what I think about this. The problem, in my opinion, isn't too many groups necessarily, but instead it's not enough resources to support those too many groups. I agree. Like you said, it's unfair to both fans and the artists themselves. I adore Stray Kids, but I think they're sacrificing their artistic integrity in favor of making music that pulls people in, brings them success. Their recent comeback Chick Chick Boom was a prime example of this. The lyrics are vague and don't really mean anything. The whole comeback is filled with gimmicks like Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman in the music video. They've been doing the same concept since God's Menu. I'm kind of sad because Stray Kids have set the bar way higher and are capable of making music that means something. Their earlier discography is filled with songs that discuss themes of mental health and growing up, but it's become less of a priority for them now. They're all style, less substance. I think there's a lot that goes into this, right? I definitely understand where you're coming from. I've seen, honestly, a growing number of stays express something along these lines. I think most K-pop artists, right, move on from the original sound that they became known for and for different reasons. So yeah, we know that Stray Kids have been pretty open about the fact that they're currently making the kind of music that they want to make. And so, as you said, perhaps they've already made the music that discuss more personal topics and have moved on to something different and more expansive, more open to commercial markets. I see where you're coming from, definitely. I think it's a tricky issue seeing any K-pop group move on from their original sound, and especially for groups like Stray Kids who are now representing their company, JYP Entertainment, in a lot of ways. They have even more responsibilities than before. I think the increased commercial efforts that you were talking about, and maybe the vagueness as a result of that in the title tracks, do represent in some ways the dependency that JYP Entertainment currently has on Stray Kids to be making, Stray Kids kind of money, right? But that being said, I think I would disagree in the sense that their project B-sides do often dig into more topics of substance, as they always have. It is kind of a balance that, of course, not everyone is going to appreciate how it's being done if it's not being done in the way that it was before. As far as quality goes, like, it's subjective, but there's also a lot that goes into this. Yeah, I don't really think that I have any incredible thoughts about this, other than I've heard from a lot of people who do think the same way as you do. Yeah, definitely. Next is from Run for Roses. Hello, Run for Roses. I think you're doing very well. We appreciate about your channel is how diverse your channel is. You could go from a serious commentary to something that may seem like a joke to you, but actually provides a lighthearted but useful discussion about something. I think a K-pop opinion I have is that NMIXX deserves better at this point, if it's from you, Run for Roses. yeah, I think NMIXX deserves more or better at this point. I'm very excited for the comeback that's coming soon. However, I think this group is way too talented to not have a full album. Absolutely agree. I said in a previous video about NMIXX, I think it was the Dash video that I did, that I wouldn't be surprised if their next project was not a full album, but now that it isn't, I'm kind of sad that it's not a full album. I think NMIXX is one of the very few groups in K-pop right now who could pull off a full album. I hope it's a concept album whenever we get that in the future, but yeah. This next project at the very least does look very promising. I like how much they're doubling down on being very stylized as a unique and odd group. Like the music video, I don't think it's a music video, but like a visual video. I don't know what you would call it, that was just released for this most recent track. Very impressed by that. Like, it's so experimental, and it makes me very excited to see what NMIXX is going to do for a full album. So definitely hope we get that soon. Thank you very much, Run for Roses, for leaving an opinion. Next is from Yash, who says, I really liked your video on TWICE about ranking their discography in chronological order, and would love if you did the same with their Japanese songs. Anyways, you make great vids, keep it up. Thank you very much. And yeah, I want to remake the TWICE, the Twimeline video to include their Japanese discography. I think that would be a lot of fun. Next is from Anon, who says, thoughts on IVEpalooza? Very, very excellent. I think it's, what, a 40-minute performance, and I have not watched it, but I saw, I think on TikTok, Wonyoung during the chorus of Baddie. Very, very excellent performance. Yeah, definitely. I also get frustrated that people in praising IVE have to talk about other groups. I think it should just be IVE's moment. People should be praising them as the good performers that they are. We don't need to be talking about or bringing down other groups when doing so. Yeah, that's what I think about this, but my general thoughts on IVEpalooza, have not watched it, but of the performances that I have watched, very, very excellent. Next is from Ben, but like a cool way? What do you mean by that, Ben? I think Ben is a cool name. Ben says, I really love the ones where you seem to cover something somewhat niche but somewhat broad. I've had a lot of fun watching the bad English videos. I saw you posted another K-pop and Skyrim video, Stray Kids, which I cannot wait to watch. And the other ones that stick out in my mind are the Will-O-The-Wisp videos, ranking the eras of how easy being a Fear Not was, and the TWICE Twimeline. I think for me, what makes these kind of videos stand out more is the topic at hand / reasoning of opinions is new, interesting, and just generally something I find quite innovative in the K-pop scene. I also find the mini-series fun that you do, such as the bad English ones, which I've referred to, the campiness of K-pop, and now the Skyrim series too. Would love to see maybe other groups you enjoy being talked about for a timeline, as that would be super interesting, but obviously at the end of the day, you should just do what makes you happy. I'm glad to have an opportunity to express which videos I really like and let you know I do truly enjoy watching your videos. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much, Ben. Wow, this was very nice. Yeah, I definitely agree. The something somewhat niche but somewhat broad is the direction that I want to take my videos going forward in the future. So I definitely want to do a lot of the videos like you suggested. Maybe the timeline for other groups would be a lot of fun. Yeah, thank you very much, Ben, for leaving a comment. But if we do this in the future, remove this. I think Ben is a cool name, like universally. Next is from Aleria, who says, if you as a K-pop fan demonize Black Swan but uplift Katseye, you're a hypocrite at best and an Asian fetishist at worst. Colorism looks ugly on anyone. Yeah, I think there's nothing really to disagree with here. I'm so far beyond the point that people decide that they hate or demonize K-pop groups in general, that they demonize any artist in general, unless a K-pop group is like, if anybody's a Super Junior stan, I apologize, but unless there's something like criminal activity going on or actually morally reprehensible behavior going on, no K-pop group should be hated on or demonized. I don't know why we're still at this point where people feel comfortable saying that they don't like a group. I don't know. I think we as a society should move on from that point. I'm also most especially against people who say things like, I don't like this group because of their fan base. What are we doing? What are we doing here? I definitely agree with this. No group should be demonized for nothing in particular, right? I don't even know why Black Swan would be demonized. Anyways, next is from Jayegato. Oh my gosh. Hello, it's Jayegato. I don't have any particular thoughts on your recent video topics in specific, but I just wanted to offer some kind words. The quality of your content and your writing is always improving, and you deserve all the growth you've received. I know lately you've garnered some negative attention via Twitter, but at the end of the day, you're the one winning doing what you love. Keep up the good work. Wow, thank you, Jayegato. This is very nice. Thank you so much. I feel the same way. Like, this means a lot coming from you. Your videos are very, very excellent. I always enjoy watching them. Thank you very much for leaving a comment. Yeah. Next is from, Aleria again. Sorry, got another one if that's okay. Yeah. People hating on idols for not speaking/writing in Korean fluently is so cringe to me because it's almost always from international netizens. Why do international stans have to be so xenophobic? Like, bro, get a hobby. Yeah, I think I also... People hating on idols for not speaking/writing in Korean fluently. Oh, so like international idols not being able to speak Korean fluently. Yeah, I agree with this. If an international idol came to Korea, is training in Korea, has become a K-pop idol, and is trying to speak the Korean language, I think they should be praised for everything that they do. Maybe that's a little extreme, but it's so much work to be a K-pop idol baseline, but being a K-pop idol and not knowing or not having a native grasp on the Korean language, and also just like how disadvantaged international idols are in the K-pop industry as it is, regardless of their language ability, I don't think anybody should be criticized or hated on for not being able to speak Korean fluently if they're trying, right? Yeah. That's weird. I agree. Again, Aleria. Thank you for leaving 2 comments. Wow. Next says, an opinion, ITZY just aren't releasing good title tracks anymore. With each comeback, their music is getting worse, and I'm tired of people saying they still release bops because they're not. Love Dynamite though. What? I really like Mr. Vampire. I like all of their title tracks as of recently. Even the single tracks from their last 2 albums that were pre-release singles. Yeah, I disagree that ITZY aren't releasing good title tracks anymore. I think they're still releasing very excellent music. I think it is just like a management issue, like I was talking about in the Too Many Girl Groups comments. I think ITZY is just one of those groups that get disadvantaged because JYP is taking on too many projects and too many groups that for some reason there's not enough or not... The people working in ITZY's division are not doing the best. And I think that's the problem for me personally. I know music taste is subjective, so if you think that they're not releasing good music anymore, I think that is up to you. But respectfully, I have to disagree. I think if they had a better team producing their works, making sure that their music videos are up to par with other JYP Entertainment music videos, we'd be good. But yeah, I guess it boils down to subjective music taste, but I disagree with this. Next is from Sarah, who says, great videos, keep it up. Thank you very much, Sarah. And then the next one says, in your video where you discussed Katseye's song Touch, you mentioned how their song Debut was meant to represent how music was in the past, and how their song Touch shows how music is now. I see where you could get this, but I don't think this is the case, as HYBE most likely gave Touch to Katseye as a way to have a palatable TikTok algorithm-friendly song that would help them go viral. They being HYBE, have done this before with NewJeans and ILLIT, since as you can tell, all 3 of those songs have a similar soft girl sound and vibe to them, and it's clear that they want to use that sound as a way to have a song that quickly goes viral on TikTok, so they can use the song's virality as a way to increase their exposure, so hopefully the group is able to go beyond the K-pop scene and break into the mainstream Western market. Anyways, thanks for reading this if you did, and listen to Perfume by Yuben, the ex-Wonder Girls member. The song is really good. Yes, I do agree. Listen to Perfume by Yuben, but yeah, I think that could just be the explanation, and I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But I don't know, like in my mind, I like the idea of them doing past, present, and future, so like this theory would also make sense given that concept in mind. So maybe they're doing that, maybe they're not doing it, but either way, I don't think Touch deserves the criticism it gets. I understand why people are a little adverse to TikTok songs, especially for how short the songs are, but I think I agree with this. It could be either case, or it could be both. I don't know. Next says, JYP and YG make the most boring music among the big 4. I see where you're coming from, or I see like the point of this. I know YG especially gets criticized. Each and every group comeback for the, YG formula song. It's like the empty chorus and then the final chorus being like a modified version of it and they're all chanting. YG does do that a lot, so I can see how it gets boring. And same with JYP Entertainment. Yeah, I can see this, but I don't know. I wouldn't call it boring necessarily. It's just, well, I can see how people would call it boring if you don't like those formulas and you want to see YG artists do something different, and you want to see JYP artists doing something different, but they're not. So I can see how that would be frustrating and you would consider it boring. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but personally, I disagree. I've been listening to Batter Up by Baby Monster way too much recently, and then JYP Entertainment. I think JYP Entertainment has a lot more variety in their song structures and are getting better at that as time goes on. I think NMIXX is a good example of that. So yeah, I disagree with this, but I can also see where you're coming from. Next says, TXT's Deja Vu is already so good, but would be 10 times better if it had a bridge. I think the final chorus would hit so much harder. Yeah, I definitely agree with this. The TikTokification of songs, there's something about it. I'm not the most annoyed by it. Like I said with Katseye, like I can get over it, but I also agree that a song like Touch, and especially a song like Deja Vu, would seriously also benefit from a course. I don't think it would hurt the TikTokification process, so we need bridges back, definitely. Next says, I don't really care about the whole the Sserafim can't sing controversy. I'm not streaming their live performances, not to mention, majority of the K-pop relies on visuals versus actual talent at this point. Yeah, I mean, I went up to bat for this. Some people who are engaging with K-pop just don't care, and I think that's fine. I'm one of those people. I don't really care whether or not an idol is a good performer. I can see how that seems crazy for people who do show up to K-pop for the live vocals purposes, and I don't mean to condemn them when I say that. It's just my personal enjoyment of K-pop. I'm not as engaged to the performance side of the industry, so it's not really something that I personally care about, but I also don't mean to strike down people who do care about it and want idols to get better at singing. So yeah, I agree with this. Next says, boy groups haven't been falling behind girl groups in recent years because of a lack of diversity in their concepts, but rather due to their creative direction being less innovative and less responsive to cultural shifts in the music industry. Whilst prior generations, it was more acceptable for groups to have frequent concept changes, for example, think Girls' Generation, nowadays groups like New Jeans have demonstrated the benefits of having a distinguishable yet consistent brand when trying to remain in the general public's conscious, and have done so in a way that have challenged industry norms at the time. For example, New Jeans is often associated with their unconventional debut rollout and their reinterpretation of first-gen K-pop to a modern audience that was fresh during the fourth generation's oversaturation of noise music. Rather than boy groups trying to reinvent themselves in response to the competition of girl groups, they either imitate what girl groups have popularized or they remain stuck in trends that have died out. I completely agree with this, I think. The idea that boy groups aren't incentivized to reinvent themselves to the same degree and as often as girl groups tend to do over time. I think you explained this in a much better way than I was trying to in the why aren't boy groups as relevant anymore video. I think there's a separation of boy group and girl group markets that overlap in some ways, but the issue is that the girl group market represents more or overlaps more with the general public compared to the boy group market. I think the reason why boy groups aren't incredibly responsive to the competition of girl groups is that they don't really have to in order to remain successful. So yeah, I think I do agree with this. This is really well put. Thank you very much for leaving this comment. Next says, I don't know if you go here, but about the incident of Yoongi, I don't think it's something big as K-pop stans are making it out to be. I do understand he could have done a serious damage, but he didn't. I'm wondering why people are making scenarios to the point that people wish he did K-word someone, which is nasty if you think about it. He was never given special treatment as he's getting his punishment, facing the law, got his license revoked, and got a fine. I think he did a mistake, but at the same time, he did no harm at the end and faced consequences of his actions, or am I missing something? Oh, do I have an opinion on this? I think... You said, I'm wondering why people are making scenarios to the point that people wish he did do something bad. It's, with an issue like this, it's really hard to give it up to the K-pop community at large to do something productive with it. I think we just need to let this situation roll out and not really put any weight into what people are saying on Twitter, especially because it is just, I don't know if the K-pop community was ever in a place where we can have productive conversations about serious issues like this, but especially today, especially right now on social media websites where the more engagements you get, there is all the incentive in the world to get the most engagements. So people are saying quite extreme things and trying to drum up engagements to their benefit, right? I don't think they actually care about this issue. I don't think they want it to be resolved in a way that is just or anything like that. I think they just want to exact revenge or are just miserable and hateful and things like that. So it is a serious situation, but yeah, I think we just need to disengage from the community aspect of discussing this because we have proven time and time again that we cannot have an earnest conversation without people co-opting it and making this issue less serious than it is by trying to be hateful. That's what I think about this. It's a very unfortunate, very tricky situation, yeah. Next says, K-pop opinion. As a Mai, I genuinely feel like aespa's first full album was a bit of a letdown, save for Armageddon and Supernova. The first half was great, but the rest just feels so disjointed. I know they likely wanted to branch out and try a genre that didn't taste like metal, but maybe there was a better way to do the latter tracks without the album sounding like it has 2 discs or something. And I worry that their concept is really boxing them in a bit too much in terms of musical direction, and this album is a potential proof of that. I think I made a video about Armageddon a while ago, talking a little bit about this, and I think it is just a dichotomy of aespa pursuing their own interest as artists versus what they've become known for. And I think the incredible success that Supernova has seen may help that, may, guide aespa in a direction, but I also don't want this initial concept that aespa was presented with to hang over their heads forever if they want to be their own artist and do their own things. I think the reason why the album feels so disjointed is because aespa are able to have songs that they want to be performing, right? I don't think they always want to be on Kwangya mode as artists, as fun as that can be sometimes. I think they want to have traditional pop songs or slower songs. They're venturing into pop rock and things like that, which isn't really associating with the original Kwangya sound. So I understand how some people, like you said, may feel let down by that, but yeah, I think it's just, we're gonna have to see. I guess I don't really have too strong of an opinion on this just yet. I think aespa should be allowed to do what they want to do. We don't know how much creative control they have, so it's kind of a tricky conversation to have, but I can definitely see how, I know a lot of people feel like the album is disjointed in that way, so I feel like I didn't really give an answer to this or my opinion on this. It's just, I think we're gonna have to wait and see. Next is Album of the Year by a K-pop group this year is FE304. Album of the Year by a K-pop soloist is Right Place Wrong Person by RM. Yeah, I can definitely see this. No notes. I think I agree with this. Next is, do you follow BTS music? And if you do, who do you think has the best releases in Chapter 2? I personally think RM and Taehyung, Right Place Wrong Person, and Layover are truly the best Chapter 2 work so far because Jin is yet to debut. Who do I think had the best release? I don't know, it's kind of hard to compare them. And I think that's a good thing because I am glad that they're able to do what they want to do as solo artists, and each of their project releases so far, I know we haven't seen all of them, but each of their project releases so far do represent who they are as artists, and I really like that. So I don't know, it's kind of, I don't think that I can choose like a best release. I appreciate all of them in unique ways. Yeah, hopefully that's a good enough answer. I don't know, I don't feel the need to rank them personally, but I agree that Right Place Wrong Person and Layover are really good, but all of them are. Next says, Cosmic by Red Velvet and Armageddon by aespa are taking Music Video of the Year. SM kinda ate this year. Oops, minus the endless lawsuits. Also, do you think the lawsuits will affect the artists? Oh, the lawsuits, yeah. I don't know. I think the outcome of the lawsuit might affect SM Entertainment, hopefully in a good way, if they can set some sort of precedent with those lawsuits about how they're treating and managing their idols. But yeah, I don't think it'll affect the artists. Or I can't see how it would affect the artists unless there is some sort of court order or law that is put into place that makes SM sort of reconstitute their groups. I don't know. I'm not really too tapped into the lawsuits. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully not. I hope it doesn't like negatively impact any of the SM groups, but hopefully some good change can be made with those lawsuits in mind. Yeah. Next says, I understand that Supernova was the most loved / best charting aespa song, and I respect that, but Armageddon was the better song. Yeah, I can see this. I'm going through a bit of an Armageddon phase right now, but Supernova is still #1 on the Chojimi charts, and I think it will be for this year. It's just such a good song. I feel bad for Armageddon. Did Armageddon even get a chance on music shows because of Supernova? I don't know if Armageddon got a win, which is really sad because it is a good song, but Supernova just kind of became its own thing. Really, it took over the world and still is to this day, almost 3 months later. So yeah, I feel bad for Armageddon. I love Armageddon, but I also really like Supernova. Next is from TheGreat, who says, Sakura can be frustrated with her job as an idol and not hate it. I don't understand why people say she hates being an idol. Imagine you go to school and you get good grades, not great, but good grades, and every single time you get a question wrong, the whole class laughs at you and makes fun of you. You would probably get frustrated going to school every day and get nervous that if you slip up, you'll be put on a grill and that pressure will get to you. Yeah, completely agree with this. I think the conversations about Sakura have not been productive really ever. I don't think people are genuinely interested in seeing her improve and get better as an artist. I think they just want the next controversy. Again, like I was saying with the Yoongi situation, I think the goal on most social media platforms these days is to get the most engagements. They don't care about the morality or the productiveness of an issue. If they can get, a viral tweet and a lot of people are quote tweeting it and engaging with it and it has like millions of impressions, they've already won. I don't think the people exacerbating these issues, one, actually care about Sakura getting better as a vocalist, but also I don't think that these people who are attacking the idols are doing so with any intention of having their minds changed. So I think the answer to this is to just not engage with those people. Yeah, it's another unfortunate situation, the whole Sserafim controversy and everything that's going on with HYBE. And then Celine says, G-Idol's music is so bad and it lacks substance. If Soyeon can't write good music, she should hand the pen to someone else that can do it better and make someone produce the songs, because Klaxon, Wife, Super Lady are not it. What happened to Oh My God? Hwa. Oh. I personally disagree with this. Obviously, if you think their more recent songs don't measure up to what they were doing before, that is your opinion, and I don't condemn you for that, but I also don't know about holding the group to the sound and style that they had before. It's kind of the same way that I feel about Stray Kids and also groups like Twice. It's a tricky subject to navigate because we don't know how much of their creative direction is held by the members in this group. How much of the decision making is in their hands. If this is the sound and style that they want to take on, I don't think that's where they should be criticized at. But again, I think it's also fine to think or wish for more of a style like what we've seen of them before. I don't condemn you for thinking this way, but also I respectfully disagree. I'm happy to be living in a world where we do get songs like Super Lady and Queen Card. I think they add a lot to K-pop, but also G-Idol's discography in a unique way. Celine says again, Arm's voice sounds very annoying. He's the reason I can't stand BTS. Well, I guess like the more recent, well, he's the reason you can't stand BTS. I was gonna say his more recent album is a little bit more experimental with the vocals and like vocal, I don't even know what you would call that, filtering or something like that. But if he's the reason you can't stand BTS, I don't know, Celine. I don't know. I guess, again, it is just like subjective taste in sound, but respectfully disagree. Next, someone says, Rockstar by Lisa was not that bad, I really liked it, the Tame Impala sample was super, the production of the song was good, the music video was fire, and as someone who's not a native English speaker, the lyrics don't get to me at all, or don't bother me at all. I'll be honest though, the rap part threw me off at first, well, I kinda got used to it, but still, I think her best rap verse was La Lisa when she's wearing the tie clothes. I do agree that is probably her best rap verse in the, I think it's the bridge or breakdown of La Lisa. And yeah, I agree. I mean, you're preaching to the choir. I recently got burned at the stake for liking Rockstar. I think it's a very good song. I definitely agree with this. Even as me, I'm a native English speaker, I don't mind the lyrics at all. But yeah, I don't want to reopen that situation. Next is from Celine, who says, a lot of Jimin's solo songs would be good if his voice didn't sound like that. Celine! I don't know, Celine. Yeah, subjective music taste. Respectfully disagree with, I think, all three of the comments you've made so far. But I appreciate you for commenting, but yeah, I think it boils down to subjective music taste, right? I understand, I guess, if you don't like the way that an artist's voice sounds. Yeah. Next says, as much as people complain about 4th gen, they're not bad. 4th gen are diverse, have different things going on, and the music eats. Stop chasing nostalgia and maybe you'll get a group you'll like or songs you'll like. Yeah, I agree with this, definitely. I think people generalize 4th generation too much, or maybe they're just looking at the big four, well, not even the big four groups, because the 4th gen groups out of the big four labels are pretty diverse. Like you compare NMIXX to Sserafim to aespa, they're not doing the same thing, right? So yeah, I agree with this. I don't really get where people are saying that 4th gen is boring or bland or they're not diverse. Even compared, well, I might understand like comparing it to previous generations, like 3rd generation, but there's a lot more material to work with 3rd generation, I feel like, compared to 4th generation. Yeah, so I definitely agree with this. I think 4th generation is generalized way too much. There's a lot of diversity outside of the big four, but also even inside the big four labels. Yeah. Next, Lina says, K-pop opinion. The hates that ILLIT has been receiving is kind of crazy, especially that those girls didn't choose the concept themselves. They had little to do with the creative direction, and yet people took it as their personal responsibility to attack and harass them about them being bad vocally. They literally just debuted. I think they deserve to have more chances in the future. Cannot agree more with this. It is, as you said, kind of crazy, very crazy actually, the amount of hate that ILLIT has gone through. Unfortunately, girl groups go through a period of insane and very unnecessary hate, but what ILLIT has been through is something else. People are not sincere. They don't care about ILLIT being better, they're just exacting some kind of revenge, and it really is unfortunate. And as you said, the members of the groups themselves didn't have any decision making throughout the whole process. I'm sure maybe they had some input, but they were formed on a survival show, and that the group concept was already in mind before the members debuted. So I don't know, well, I do know why people feel a need to attack the members. It's because they're the easiest and most lucrative targets in terms of, again, engagements on social media. If people attack like the management team in the company, it's not going to get as much engagements. You know, people are only going to get engagements if they attack the idols first, which is very unfortunate. And I wish that the K-pop community at large would stop lifting those people's voices up, because they're not sincere. They don't want to see anything productive out of the situation. They just want to honestly make these issues worse. They want to exacerbate them so they can have more engagements. That's what I think is going on. It's ridiculous. I agree with you, Lina, 100%. Next is from Hurhur, maybe? I don't know. Who says, talent isn't everything. People hate on idols like Yeri, Shua, and Mai because they have no particular talent, but they are essential for the group. Feed Bribery says that if it wasn't for Yeri, oh, maybe that's Red Velvet, that was autocorrected. Red Velvet says that if it wasn't for Yeri, they wouldn't have relaxed and let go of all the honorifics. Because of Yeri, Red Velvet were able to become close and get to know each other. Sometimes these, quote, talentless idols are needed to make the group work. Yeah, I agree with this, but I disagree in the sense that there aren't any talentless idols. I don't know that I subscribe to that. I think there are idols who are certainly more talented than others, but to be an idol requires a base level toolkit that, I don't know, I don't believe in the concept of calling people talentless, right? It's like people are put in the idol industry for a reason. And so many people, so many social media posts, again, looking for engagements, say things like, how did this person become an idol? And I think it's ridiculous. I think if you ask yourself that question, you would probably get a meaningful answer. There's a reason why idols are chosen, and that's it, right? I disagree that any idol is talentless, and there's a reason why idols are selected. Yeah, definitely. I agree with this. Hurhur, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Next says, your concept analysis videos always help me appreciate the songs you analyze more, or in a way I didn't before, because of the details you notice and talk about, and your ability to connect the details in the songs / music videos to theories or storyline, etc. That makes sense. That is one of the biggest reasons I am subscribed to your channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that a lot. Next says, most of Twice's pre-Fancy You albums are mid. The title tracks are iconic, but the albums have 1 or 2 good, decent B-sides, the rest ranging from meh to bad. The only exception is Twicegram, but their albums really are the best from Fancy You onwards. I have to disagree with this. Twice's entire discography is so good in my opinion. There's not a song that I hate. And I'm being very genuine when I say that. I actually have a friend who's a once who thinks this way, and I just don't get it. Like this idea that I think my friend says What Is Love? Or no, it might have been Fancy as well, that the songs are bad, like the B-side songs. And I'm like, I just don't understand that. What about Next Page? What about, well, you said Twicegram. III's, like every song from the Signal album, every song from even The Story Begins, Truth is an incredible B-side. So I don't really understand this worldview. I can't stand behind this lifestyle. I don't know anything about that. I love Twice's entire discography personally, but I respect your opinion, definitely. Next is from Aya, who says, firstly, I love the topics you cover, but more importantly, the way you cover them. Your interpretation is always rich, original, and creative. An opinion I personally disagreed with was in regards to Twice. They may appear to be more westernized, but this concept change suits their branding more as they are maturing, which they've said on the Ready to Be tour multiple times that they feel like it's showcasing themselves now. If they were to continue with the cute concepts, they would be infantilizing themselves in order to appeal the hegemonic male gaze that pervades East Asia. Naturally, not everyone will appreciate this transition into such a concept. Moving on, a random K-pop opinion of mine is that vocals don't actually matter as much as fans claim. I think as long as the idols can sing their own song and their song is easy to sing, it should be okay. Just for context, I've been singing for almost a decade, and I do feel idols are a whole package, so there is no requirement that they must excel in everything. Good discography is also not mutually exclusive with underdeveloped vocals. Sserafim's Easy is the quintessential example of this. It's a really easy song to sing, and the R&B melody is soothing. However, I do think they should at the very least be able to sing that song specifically, since it's not a challenging task. However, expecting the Sserafim to be as good as even ITZY aren't by all means perfect, but they are very stable singing live, is quite a high expectation as a more performance-oriented group. G-Idol doesn't have the strongest vocalist or dancers, however, their concepts, production, and stage presence has amassed them millions of fans. You can't expect an idol to be good at everything, and not every group will be vocally oriented, so people should lower their criteria in my opinion. Also, unpopular opinion, but stan NMIXX, what? I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. Well, I guess they are slept on a lot, so maybe it's unpopular in that way, but I agree, stan NMIXX. Okay, So yeah, I agree with this this first part about Twice. I've made a couple of videos about it, and I think I wasn't necessarily clear that I in no way want them to go back to a cute concept. I want Twice to be able to do what they want to do. I think the management and division teams behind them need to meet Twice where these new concepts are placing themselves at. So yeah, that's what I think. I agree with this. I don't want them to go back to a cute concept. I think they need to do what they want to do, but I think they just need like the creative direction team backing to be able to see their musical interests have conceptual depth to them, right? Yeah, so I agree with this. And then the second part, as long as idols can sing on their own and their song is easy to sing, I agree. Yeah, I personally don't care about, you know, vocal ability and performance. Like I can watch a performance and not really care if the vocals are good or bad, but I know not everybody feels that way, certainly. Yeah. Next says, aespa's first album had a lot of good songs and I really enjoyed it and have been listening to it nonstop, but I was expecting it to be more lore heavy, especially with reference to Kwangya and such, than it was. I think this album marks the beginning of the second season, and that the Kwangya heavy concept with lots of lore we had from Black Mamba to Savage is never coming back, as much as I want it to. As much as I want the old concept of aespa back, I think this decision was good to appeal more to the general public with an easier grasp concept like aliens and alternative universes. Another point to add, their album's incohesiveness for their recent releases makes me worried for their future projects. Yeah, I think I can see where this is coming from. It's a tricky situation that aespa is in because the people who made their original concept no longer work at SM Entertainment, so maybe SM still has contact to those people, but not like in a workplace environment. So like aespa and SM Entertainment no longer have the resource of the people who made the original concept for the first couple of comebacks. So yeah, I think the growing pains, if you can call it that we've seen in the past couple of albums are just a reflection of that. And like I said before, I think we just need to give aespa more time to sort of recenter themselves. I can't imagine what an undertaking like this is, having to reconstitute a group that has already established themselves so well, but without the people who made the concept originally. It's going to be a difficult thing, and I think we should just, you know, stand by aespa as long as possible. It's fine to be critical of the work and to think that incohesiveness is a problem, but yeah, definitely. Next, Epic Gamer says, Enhypen's boyfriend concept is excessively parasocial. I like Enhypen. I don't know too much about the boyfriend concept. I've seen somebody talking about this on social media, and I didn't know what it was, and I haven't looked into it since, but yeah, I don't really have enough information to weigh in on this personally, but I would also argue that most things in K-pop are excessively parasocial, so there may be something going on within Enhypen specifically that is a little too far, but I also think most fan to idol relationships in K-pop that are facilitated are excessively parasocial as well. So yeah, I don't know too much about this, so I can't really weigh in on the specifics and the details. But yeah, thank you very much for submitting an opinion. Next is from Kay, who says, I love the lyric analysis vids and the bad English defenses. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, Kay. Next, I know this is a touchy subject, but although Heejin has several flaws of her own, in this specific case against HYBE and Bang Si-hyuk, and them trying to bully her out of speaking her truth is just another product of the K-pop industry's misogyny and general poor ethics. I really hope NewJeans and Sserafim are safe though. Me too. I wish, no matter what is going on, I wish these companies would prioritize the well-being of the groups that are underneath these labels, which does not seem to be the case. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I just talked about it. It's these people on social media who just want to drum up controversy, and the members of the groups, despite having no responsibility for anything going on, are the easiest and most lucrative targets in terms of farming engagements on social media. So I think that's why that's happening. But yeah, as far as Heejin definitely does have several flaws, and it's also, I would say, misogyny. I think this is a situation where multiple things are true at the same time, and yet people don't necessarily want to look into that, or don't want to accept that as reality. Again, that's not really the way that the K-pop community at large operates, because, you know, multiple things being true at the same time doesn't garner the most engagements. There is no profit to nuance, unfortunately. So yeah, it's a tricky situation. I hope it resolves quickly and peacefully in a way that groups like NewJeans and Sserafim and ILLIT aren't, well, they've already been damaged at this point. There's really no going back, but I wish they would, you know, wisen up to the fact that these groups who have nothing to do with this controversy should be the first priority. Their well-being should be above everything else. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Next, JYP Entertainment is flopping. They would be nothing Maybe they would be nothing without Twice or Stray Kids. ITZY flopped. NMIXX had a bad debut and a member left. NIZIU is somewhat popular in Japan. Boy Story is somewhat popular in China. And Extraordinary Heroes is Nugu. And Vija and NEXY are non-existent. Hum. I do agree that JYP is going through a management crisis right now. I don't know if it's because they have too many groups or it's within the individual divisions. Because we look at NMIXX, you said, what did you say about NMIXX? They had a bad debut and a member left. I feel like NMIXX is doing good now though. So it's not that JYP is completely hopeless. I think it is just like the constitutions of the divisions under JYP Entertainment. I think if we can get that under wraps, we should hopefully be good. You know, if we can look to, what is the division NMIXX is underneath? I think it's called Squad. If we can look to Squad as a bit of a frame of reference, hopefully things can get better from this point forward. Yeah. JYP Entertainment is flopping. That's so funny. Next is from Sumi, who said, if you had full creative control over EXO Kai's new album, what vision and or sound would you go for? Oh my gosh, I don't. Why would you ask me this? No, I'm kidding. I've thought about this a lot. I think I'll have to make a video about this, but if we could just look right now, Fruitiger, Arrow, I kind of want this vibe for a Kai comeback. Like if I had to, wait, this is not what it is. It's something like this. Like the late 2000s internet concept, like visual concept at least, and I would want the sound to reflect that as well. Yeah, there's too much going into this, but it's sort of like this style that I would love to see for Kai. I'm really all about the Fruitiger Arrow aesthetic, so yeah, I'll have to make a video about this. I could be here for the next hour talking about this, but thank you so much, Sumi, for writing this in. Yeah, I'll definitely make a video about it later. New Jeans have a no-skip discography. Yeah, I agree with this. Even Zero, I will personally find the time to defend Zero each and every day of the week. Yeah, I agree. No notes. Sumi says again, if the current history of K-pop didn't happen, which current active artist / group would cause the big international breakthrough? Honestly, I think New Jeans. Like the people in my life and just the people that I've seen on social media who know about New Jeans and listen to New Jeans who wouldn't have paid attention to K-pop any other day of the week or in any other situation is quite insane. I think New Jeans is a lot more ubiquitous than I think even K-pop fans want to acknowledge sometimes. So yeah, if the current history of K-pop didn't happen, I think New Jeans would be the group. Yeah, definitely. Next is from Sumi again. Oh my gosh. What is your secret and how are you still making this many videos, treating us with gifts weekly? I hope you're not burnt out and I hope you're still having loads of fun. I am. It's been pretty tough recently, I'm not gonna lie, but I am. Thank you for saying that, treating us with gifts weekly. I try to post as often as possible, but I also don't want to overexert myself. There have been a lot of instances as of recently where I'll make a video or I'll start making a video and then just stop because I do feel myself getting on the edge of being burnt out. So yeah, I don't want to push myself in any way that makes me not enjoy doing this anymore. So yeah, I think I am doing good. I'm still having loads of fun, but I personally feel like my release cadence isn't as frequent as it used to be. But yeah, I'm just kind of grappling with that right now. But yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you very much for asking this. I really appreciate it. Next is from Pinkura, who says, Tojimi, I love you. Please continue making videos. They've been great. Heart emojis. Thank you very much. P.S. Do you plan on talking about the whole Kep1er renewal situation in MADEIN? I know, or you know, future album predictions, etc. Yeah, probably. I don't have any scripts written right now, but I'll definitely still keep talking about Kep1er. I don't know too much about MADEIN right now, but maybe I'll make a video about that as well in the future. But yeah, thank you very much for submitting this. Sumi again says, from a trained vocalist perspective, Sakura was actually improving bit by bit. It's strange that others remained the same or have even decreased in vocal quality, yet Sakura is the one to attack. If people don't know about vocals, then they shouldn't talk, in my opinion. Yes, the interviews / statements were odd, but let's all use common sense here. Yeah, I agree. It goes back to what I was talking about, that I genuinely don't think that these conversations that we're seeing, these discussions across the K-pop community and social media are being held with the intention of seeing the members of Sserafim actually get better at vocals. I don't think that's what most people's intentions are here. I think they just want to talk about controversy. They just want to center themselves in drama, unfortunately. And those are the people that are being lifted up the most because obviously the more outrageous content is going to get the most engagements. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Yeah, like using common sense. I wish people would use common sense, but again, I don't think anybody wants to see Sakura improve. I don't think anybody wants to see Sserafim improve. I think they just want the drama and the controversy, which I guess that is the reality of the situation for most people. It's not really about the performance ability, it's just about hatred in a lot of ways, which is unfortunate. Next is from Sumi again. Not sure if unpopular opinion or not, but I feel KTube is finally progressing for the better again. People put in more efforts creatively, and in overall, people seem to be wanting to talk more about the music again, instead of constant toxicity, but that may just be me. I don't know, what do you think? Yeah, I think KTube is getting a lot more dynamic, and it's not just... I think it got very stagnant over time, and the people who were producing more dynamic content were stifled a lot because they weren't doing unpopular K-pop opinions and things like that. So I think K-pop has always been progressing for the better. It just went through a pretty harsh period where nobody was really being acknowledged for doing something dynamic. And now, we see that with people like you and also like Overthinking Kpop. So many people that are bringing really good vibes to the K-pop, or at least the KTube community, which I think is very, very valuable. So thank you, Sumi, for everything that you do, as well as other KTubers. But yeah, I feel like KTube right now is in a good place. Universally, I would agree. Yeah, definitely. And thank you for submitting so many posts. Next is from Arimes 31, who says, "This is not meant to be a shot at you and is more of just a thought that arose when I saw the form, but why do K-pop fans continue to engage in opinion content knowing that we aren't a part of a community that is willing to have an actual conversation? Asking this question is pointless, partly because this isn't true to all spaces within the community, and I do know the answer, but oddly enough, I still can't help but wonder while witnessing just how popular this kind of content is after upwards of 4 years." I definitely agree with this. I actually have a script about this, and I think the source of the problem is unpopular K-pop opinions specifically. It's fine to have an unpopular opinion about something. It's fine to have an opinion about something and talk about it. I think that's very healthy, but the trend of unpopular K-pop opinions specifically and the damage that it has done to our community, at its base, it is incentivizing people to find problems within anything and everything. And I still think we're dealing with the repercussions of that trend still to this day, which is why we see the K-pop community as volatile as it is, because that became the standard for, as you said, upwards of 4 years. It's been a part of our community for so long that a lot of people don't really know how to engage in a community without saying something controversial, right? So I do agree with this. I think having an actual conversation is very difficult. It's not impossible, and I think we should try to facilitate it when we can. But yeah, the damage that unpopular K-pop opinions have done to our society cannot be understated or cannot be overstated. I don't know how to use that, but cannot be emphasized enough. There we go. I agree with this. Yes, thank you. Next is Vicha will be very successful. I hope so. I don't know what's going on with Vicha right now. I made my last video about them was like, Vicha can't stop winning. It was about their only one comeback, and they have been radio silent ever since that point. I'm hoping that everything is okay with Vicha and that they're just sort of reformatting themselves, or maybe they're planning for an album or something like that. Yeah, I hope everything's going okay with Vicha. Next is from Overthinking Kpop. Just wanted to chime in and tell you that I still love your content, and I'm always delighted whenever I see your name pop up in my notifications. Thank you for all of your hard work. Thank you so much for this, Overthinking Kpop. I really appreciate it. I'm still watching your videos. I saw in your most recent video about the Sserafim that you talked about my video, which I really appreciate. Thank you very much. And I apologize that I'm not as interactive with the community as I used to be. I'm working to get back to that point. Part of the reason why I'm doing this right now is because I do kind of want to get back into there. I feel like I've been closing myself off to the KTube community more and more as of recent events that have not been the most fun to go through. But I'm still watching the videos, but I'm still just, I don't know, something about commenting and everything that has to do with that gets me kind of nervous. So yeah, I am doing things like this because I want to, like, what is it called? Shock therapy? Not shock therapy, exposure therapy, to just sort of get myself back into the game. I want to hopefully soon return to the KTuber I used to be and be more interactive. But yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate you leaving a comment like this. I feel the same way as well, of course. Yeah, thank you very much. Next is from Bella, who says neutral. Oh, about your thoughts on my recent video topics. Neutral. Okay. Thank you very much, Bella. I appreciate you for saying that. Genuinely, that's not meant to be sarcastic. Oh my gosh. Next is from Finley, who says, please continue the videos which are breakdowns of certain concepts, for example, Chemical Hype Boy video, Will-O-The-Wisp Resurgence, Lucky Girl Syndrome videos, etc. Also love your Twice videos as a fellow once. I think it's great to see people diving into their themes on love. Thank you very much. And yeah, I agree. I'm going to continue doing, again, these more niche conceptual videos. I find that those are the most fun to make and release without any stress about how people are going to respond to them generally. Yeah, thank you very much, Finley. Spoiled Brat says, your recent video topics, I love them as usual, especially the Sserafim one. K-pop opinion. Kiss of Life is amazing, but they are not a, quote, grown woman group. They are 24, 22, 20, and 19. They are young adults. I find it weird how K-pop stans will call female idols over 25 actual grown women old and hags, but call Kiss of Life a grown woman group. It's weird. It is very weird. I don't think people necessarily have bad intentions when calling Kiss of Life grown women, and I think it's maybe primarily younger people who are like 14 look at someone who's 19 and be like, oh, that's, you know, a grown woman, that's an adult, right? So I don't think it's all necessarily a bad place or coming from a bad place, but I agree, it is weird. And this sort of double standard for actual grown women, like the way that people talk about Irene or even Eunbi from the soloist who was from ITZY. Yeah, it is weird. I will say that, but yeah. I agree. Next is from Angela K, who says your recent album reimagining video was really well made and really fun to watch, so I'd really like it if you do similar reimaginings with other albums too. I'd also love to see your take on why certain songs become hits with the general public, specific to girl groups seemingly as of late, or maybe even talk about your top 5, 10, 20 albums, title tracks, and B-sides. You deliver well-meaning and constructive criticism so well, but I'd also love to hear you gush, basically. LOL, love your videos. Yeah, thank you very much. And I agree, I want to make more videos. I feel like I've said it multiple times at this point, but yeah, I want to do more reimagining, like conceptual videos. I may continue constructive criticism, but yeah, as of recently, it's not been very fun to do those types of videos. So yeah, I'm working on reconstructing how I go about making videos to be more conceptual in nature rather than critical all the time. I still like talking about social issues in K-pop, but it is very draining. So yes, thank you very much, Angela. Next is from Holly, who says, hi Tojimi, I'm really liking your recent videos, especially the ones that dive deep into a particular aspect or messaging behind the song, like your video on the definition of a chemical hype boy. It's a really unique way of thinking that I haven't really seen much on YouTube, and it's really interesting. On a completely different note, LOL, I actually just saw ATEEZ recently and have been diving more into their discography, and I've been thinking a bit about whether they can be considered as beating the just another noisy boy group allegations, if that makes sense. They definitely debuted around a time where a lot of other boy groups were making / debuting with noisy music, so it may have been easier to put them in a box perhaps. I'm sure one could say more on the topic, LOL, especially about the noisy boy group section of K-pop, but I think personally, ATEEZ have successfully beat that general perception, but of course to each their own. Anyway, thank you for reading if you do, and I apologize if this was really long and rambly, LOL. No, it wasn't. Thank you very much, Holly. And I agree, I think this is another good example about boy groups, people just being very dismissive of boy groups in general, and a group like ATEEZ who they have, I guess, released traditionally noise music. Like, I don't know, it's a double standard and it's really unfair. Like, ATEEZ can do a song like Bouncy, and yes, that can be technically considered as noise music, but if you look at their entire discography, they are nowhere near the genre of noise music that I think people who call them just another noise music boy group actually think or actually feel like. I don't know, it's unfortunate. I think boy groups like ATEEZ get unfairly generalized when in all reality, I agree, they have beat the just noisy music allegations. So yeah, thank you very much, Holly. Next is, I like your music video analysis best. The Cosmic Red Velvet one was my favorite, like the undying sun and chasing the day and running away from inevitability is so peak. 10 out of 10. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like that video too. I'm very proud of it personally. Next is from Millie, who says, I don't necessarily care about singing and dancing all that much. I'm into K-pop mainly for the music. Not to say I don't enjoy good vocals or dancing, but I truly don't think having the best vocals makes you the best artist. Like I said, yeah, I definitely agree with this. I find that a lot of people aren't really into K-pop for the vocal performance necessarily, and it's a weird thing to talk about because some people do take it gravely seriously. People like that are going to be particularly sensitive to the performance aspect of K-pop, and I don't necessarily blame people for doing so. But yeah, I agree. I'm in the same camp as you. I feel the same way. I don't necessarily care about singing and dancing all that much either. Next is from Yo Mama, who says, when it comes to Luna re-debuts, I'd have to say that Choo is my least favorite. I don't blame her, but her company. Choo's music just hasn't been up to par to me. Like, I would never genuinely say that Howl is as good of a song as Loop or even Heart Attack. The entire Strawberry Rush EP feels empty and honestly kind of boring too. I'm not sure what type of concept or sound Choo is going for. Maybe I just don't get it. Yeah. I can see where you're coming from, but I also think that, you know, for everything that Choo and Luna themselves have been through, I think they deserve to just have a period where they can explore their own style and sound. I think that's why some of them went solo artists. That's why they reconstituted themselves in the way that they did. I think they want to find their own artistic identity. That's not going to be easy, especially after the situation that they were in Blockberry, right? So yeah, I can definitely see, or I understand where you're coming from, but I also feel like it's just people like Choo exploring different sound and styles and what they want to do as artists. So yeah, I think we should have some lenience, but I also don't blame you if you feel like the earlier projects are better than the more recent ones. So yeah. Next, Kylie or Avoid Kylie on YouTube says, I don't know how helpful this is, but I will watch pretty much any of your videos, no matter the topic. I love your way of looking deeper into something I love. Even if I don't agree with everything you say, you put it in a way that I can see where you are coming from and makes me think, why do I disagree? Something that I take at surface level, you make me think about what my opinions are and why I think that way. I also appreciate that you don't make videos super long for no reason. I feel like this video is going to be very long, but hour-long videos have their place. Okay, good. But I feel like you just get right to the point. You give your opinion and why without dragging it out, just so you can put in more ad rolls. You bring something I feel like I don't see in any other K-pop YouTubers. There's professionalism, quality, thoroughness I don't see in other channels. I really like your videos and how you expand my viewpoint and knowledge, even if it is on a subject most would see as trivial. Wow. This is so nice. Thank you so much, Kylie, for this. Yeah, I'm glad that you like that my videos aren't short. I really make a point out of like my professional or technical writing background. I really make a point of like getting straight to the point and just saying what I have to say and not really holding anybody for that long. That being said, I do think this video is going to be probably my longest video to date. So yeah. You'll have to let me know how you feel about this kind of longer form content as well. But thank you very much, Kylie, for everything that you said. Next is from Ola Terry. Hello, Ola Terry, our good friend. Always enjoy reading your comments. Who says, not opinion, but manifestation. NMIXX should be the next big thing in K-pop because WTH, crying emojis. The music, concepts, performance, variety content is all greater than. Yeah, no notes. I completely agree with this. NMIXX should be the next big thing in K-pop. It's high time. They've more than put in the work. I absolutely agree with this, yeah. Next, someone says, loved it. Great, thank you very much. And you know what? This is the 60th response or 60th opinion, and I think I'm gonna stop here. I'm getting very sinister vibes about how long this video is gonna be, so thank you very much for watching this all the way to the end. If you did, I know this has been quite a long video. Definitely let me know what you think about this. Do you like these longer videos, or would you prefer my shorter videos like I normally do? Yeah, if you have any thoughts about anything that I've said in this video, again, I don't take my opinions that seriously. I'm always willing to have my mind changed, so please definitely let me know what you think. And I think that's it. I'll see you in the next installment of this. So I'll make further installments of this series. I think I'm going to put this as a part of the Me report, actually. But yeah, I'll answer the rest of the questions and responses that were submitted. Thank you very much again for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time.